Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. In this video I wanted to give our December net worth update. So every month, typically in the beginning of the month, is when I calculate our net worth statement. So it's kind of a little bit based on the previous month, so even though it's December, it's not through December, so the January video will actually kind of be the recap of December, if that makes sense. So when we calculate our net worth, we always use the purchase price of our home, not the current market value. So we paid $415. That's what we use, even though right now the market value reports that I get value it at like $510. So that's almost $100,000 more in equity, but we try to be very conservative with our numbers because we don't plan on selling our house right now anyway. So that's not really equity that we actually have, if that makes sense, because we don't plan to sell to capitalize on that equity. So again, being very, very conservative with that number. Then we take our any money that we have in like retirement type funds and our different, we include checking and savings accounts. So that includes our emergency fund, our various sinking funds. So there's actually several different accounts that roll up into that bucket. And then we also have a separate line item for real estate. Even though we invest in real estate through the Fundrise real estate investing platform, which we probably could kind of roll into that same category of retirement and savings, but I wanted to call it out separately just so we can continue to track that visually as its own line item as we contribute more and more to that account. So we add up all of those, and that is what we have in assets. And then the only liability that we have for a debt is our mortgage. So then we subtract out what we owe on our mortgage. And that's another reason I tend to do this in the beginning of the month, because at the beginning of the month is when our mortgage processes. So right after that processes is when I tend to do these videos. So that way we have that amount. So for our December recap, we're looking at assets of $674,000-ish minus about $338,000 that we owe on our mortgage. So for our December net worth, we are at $335,912. This is actually a big bump up again this month. So last month we were in the positive, and we are again this month. So we are up by just over $20,000 compared to last month. So the majority of that is due to the stock market, not that we have that kind of cash that we are putting in savings or things like that to be able to grow it that much in 1 month. So we also calculate within my Excel a percent to fire. So again, that number is kind of conservative, but for this, I've just chosen 1.5 million as what we would need kind of as a minimum in order to achieve fire. If we want to, retire early or anything like that, or I mean, any day really, we're going to need at least that much. So we calculate a percent of that. So how far are we away from reaching that goal? So that percentage is 22.39%. So something that we continue to track. And when we look at it month over month, I had talked about in previous months that it looked very depressing, that we were kind of trending downward despite continuing to invest in both our 401ks and other funds like Fundrise and M1 and putting money into savings, that it was really deflating to see, you're trending downwards. So it's really nice that now the last 2 months of this calendar year, we're heading back up in the right direction. So just in the last 2 months alone, it's almost $35,000 more. So as this economy and the stock market turns around, I'm anticipating we're going to see some very significant bumps up, or at least I'm hopeful that we're kind of turning things around within the stock market and that those numbers will continue to go up and up. So either way, it's nice now the last 2 months again, seeing that bar chart going up into the positives as we are working towards that goal. Our first big goal is to reach a net worth of $500,000. So we are, still shy of that, but that is one of my significant goals. So we will continue to track this month over month and celebrate when we definitely hit that milestone. And one thing that I really want to stress is if you're in just the beginning stages and you're still paying off debt and things like that, it can be very hard. I was just there a few years ago, and net worth wasn't something that I really tracked back then. At that time, it was like, we just need to get out of debt. Like, we need to stop paying all this money every month to go, nowhere. But I encourage you to start tracking that now because it's very impressive to see that change over the years. I looked back at some spreadsheets, and at that time I only used Mint, and it will calculate a net worth within there. So I think it was back in 2018 when I first started tracking it, even though we were still paying off debt at that time, we had a net worth of $100,000. So it's gone up significantly over the years, so that is promising. Not only has that gone up, but we've wiped out all of our debt other than our mortgage, even though we have a larger mortgage now than we did back in 2018. But I think it's something really impressive to track, and it can be very motivating for you as well. And I think it's really important to set goals, and it keeps you motivated and striving to achieve those. I know I'm a very competitive person with myself, so I set these goals and want to keep moving forward and keep investing and keep putting things towards that to achieve it. So even when that market is down and we were seeing negative numbers as our net worth was actually decreasing, it's okay, because like I said, it is starting to turn around, and it will continue to turn around in the months and years to come, and we will see, reap the rewards for our efforts, kind of thing. So I just wanted to hop on and kind of give our monthly update, and then come January, I'll do this net worth one as well, but I think I'll also do some additional videos just kind of wrapping up our year and what we were able to achieve and what things from our goals that we did or did not achieve. So for example, paying down to get rid of PMI on our mortgage was a goal that we actually abandoned. So I can give an update on where we ended up with that despite abandoning that goal. And then I'll create some new goals and share those in the new year as well. So I hope everybody has a great December as we wrap up this year, and I will be back again in January.